A very good morning to all my dear students. For semester 5, for paper 2, I am going to start to teach you online unit number 2, that is angiosperm 1. In that unit, we have 3 different chapters. The first one is morphology of flower. Second one is Bentham and Hooker system of classification. And the third one is study of different families with the help of Bentham and Hooker system of classification. So today we are starting with the first chapter, that is morphology of flower. The first slide we can see that there are 3 different types of flowers. One is purple, one is yellow, other one is the maroon red color. So these are the beautiful photographs of flowers. So we can start with the first point. Before starting, I would like to clarify one thing. And when we are studying the morphology of flower, firstly we must understand what is exactly the definition of flower. Then what are the different types of or different parts of flower. And after understanding the different parts of flower, we will move towards the explanation on what that particular part plays an important role in flower. So let's start with the first. What is flower? So flower is a reproductive unit in angiosperm. Flower is the reproductive unit in the angiosperm. That means it's a reproductive organ of every angiospermic plant. So it is meant for sexual reproduction. Always keep it in mind, there are different types of reproductive methods. The one is called as vegetative, where the vegetative part of that plant is been used for the reproduction purposes. Other one is called as asexual reproduction. That means no sex organs are involved in the reproduction. But it is not either a vegetative one also. So that type of reproduction is called as asexual. In case of the sexual reproduction, sex organs are involved. What are those sex organs in plant? One is called as a androecium, that is male gametophyte, and gynoecium, which is called as female gametophyte. So these type of 2 sex organs are involved. So flower is the reproductive unit in angiosperm and it is meant for sexual reproduction. A typical flower has 4 different kinds of whorls. Whorls mean nothing but the parts. As they are arranged in a circular manner, adjacent to each other, they are called as whorls. They are arranged successively on the swollen end of the stalk. Now they are arranged on the swollen end of the stalk or pedicel. It is nothing but the extension of the branch, aerial branch, on which the flower grows. That part which is swollen, it's called as thalamus or receptacle. So this is the in general presentation of flower. What these whorl members, 4 kinds of whorl members are called as calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx and corolla are accessory organs, while androecium and gynoecium are called as reproductive organs. That means calyx and corolla, these are the parts which do not play important role or which do not play a role in reproduction, whereas the androecium and gynoecium play role in reproductive or reproduction. So calyx and corolla are called as a accessory. They can be called as unfertile, whereas androecium and gynoecium they called as reproductive, so can be called as fertile. Okay. In some flowers like a lily, it's a monocot plant, the calyx and corolla are not distinct. Listen, calyx and corolla are not distinct. That doesn't mean that they are absent. You cannot differentiate between calyx and corolla. So it is termed as perianth. So you can see that the calyx and corolla, they are joined together to form a single structure, and that single structure maybe looks like calyx or maybe looks like corolla. If looks like calyx, it's green in color. If it looks like corolla, it is colored. So that whole structure is called as perianth. Let's see what is next. Here is the very beautiful picture of the simple flower. This is the longitudinal section, or we can say vertical section of the flower. Here the receptacle is very clear. It is nothing but the extension of the aerial branch of plant. Then there is the swollen part. That swollen part is called as thalamus or receptacle. On the receptacle or along the receptacle, calyx arises, which is also a leafy structure, or it's green in color. And on this receptacle arrange the calyx, the colored one called as corolla, then the androecium and gynoecium. Androecium, it is consisting of stamens. Stamens, nothing but the anther and filament, whereas gynoecium called as carpels, nothing but stigma, style and ovary. So this is the whole structure of flower. So we can see gynoecium. Now we can see the stigma, style and ovary altogether to form the gynoecium, whereas anther and filaments altogether forms the androecium. Now corolla is also called as petals, whereas calyx is called as sepals. When a flower has both androecium and gynoecium, androecium a male gametophyte, gynoecium a female gametophyte, that flower is called as bisexual flower. That means both androecium and gynoecium are present on the same flower. Then that flower is called as bisexual flower. Whereas now you can see in this picture, androecium is also present and the gynoecium is also present. So this flower is called as bisexual flower. Whereas a flower having either a stamen or androecium or only carpels or gynoecium, either or. That means the flower may be having only androecium but not the gynoecium, or may be having the gynoecium but not androecium. Then that flower is called as unisexual. Here we can see two different flowers. On the left side flower shows the presence of only gynoecium. Androecium is absent. That flower is called as a female flower because it contains gynoecium only, and that flower is called as a unisexual. Whereas the other flower which shows the presence of male, that is androecium, but gynoecium is absent, and that is called as the male flower, unisexual of course. So these are the two pictures showing how the unisexual flowers looks. So this is about the flowers are unisexual or bisexual. When a flower can be divided into two equal radial halves, that means the flower can be cut into two different halves. Two different halves means it can be cut into two halves by passing a straight line in any degree. So that's why the word is used radial. So in radial plane passing through the center, then it is called as actinomorphic. Then the flower is called as actinomorphic. Examples are mustard, dhatura, chili. These are the different examples of this flower. So let's see how the flower looks actinomorphic. Now this is the flower of dhatura, or we call in Marathi as dhotra. So let's see how it can be divided. Let's see. This is the one line cutting the flower into two halves. Now this is the another line, of course passing through the center, again cutting into two halves. This is the third line also passing through the center and cutting the flower into two equal radial halves. So this is called as actinomorphic flower. So what is the next? Now when it can be divided into two similar halves only in one particular vertical plane. If the flower can be divided into two similar halves with the help of only one particular line, then that flower is called as zygomorphic. The best example is Pia Delanex cassia. So we can say Gokarna. That flower is one of the best example. We can see here that flower. This is the flower Gokarna or cassia. So let's see. Here only one line can pass through the center and it divides into two halves. Only one line, not like that of the dhatura flower. So this flower is called as zygomorphic flower. So flowers are divided into two: zygomorphic zygomorphic and actinomorphic. Actinomorphic, where many lines can divide the flower into two equal halves, whereas in zygomorphic only one line can divide into two equal halves. So this is the information about the zygomorphic and actinomorphic flower. Now, depending upon the whorl members corolla, number of corolla present in that flower, the flowers will be trimerous, tetramerous or pentamerous. When the floral appendages are in multiple of 3, 4 or 5, that means 3 into 2, 6, 4 into 2, 8 or 5 into 2, 10 respectively, then it is called a trimerous, tetramerous and pentamerous flower. Let's see. Now this is a trimerous flower. We can easily see 6 petals are there. So in multiples of 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So this flower is trimerous. Whereas here you can see only 4 petals. So this flower is called a tetramerous flower. But in case of this, you can see 5 petals. So this flower is called a pentamerous flower. So flowers are of these three different types: trimerous, multiples of 3, tetramerous, multiples of 4, and pentamerous, multiples of 5. Flowers with bracts, reduced leaf found at the base of the pedicel, are called as bracteate. That means at the base of the pedicel there will be presence of leafy structure. A structure may be membranous, leafy, green in color, may sometimes white, sometimes colored. Then that structure depicts the flower as bracteate. If that structure is absent, then it is called as ebracteate. Let's see. Here is the bracteate flowers. We can see these green color bracts which are present at the base of the pedicel of the flower. This is the aster flower, which shows numerous bracts present below the flower at the base of the pedicel. Whereas this is a very simple flower, that is the dhatura, where it do not show leafy structure at the base. Of course, green color leafy structure is there, that is calyx, not the bracts. So this flower is called as ebracteate. If the bracts are present, bracteate. If the bracts are not present, ebracteate. Based on the position of calyx, corolla, and androecium in respect of the ovary on thalamus, the flowers are described as hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. Now listen carefully. The position of calyx, corolla, and androecium in respect of the ovary. That means the position of ovary above calyx, corolla, androecium, below calyx, corolla, androecium, or not above, not below, and the middle. The flower is divided into three different types, that is hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. So let's see how can it be shown. Here, in the hypogynous flower, the gynoecium occupies the highest position, while other parts are situated below it. The ovary in such flower is said to be superior. That means in the picture we can see that the pinkish color gynoecium is situated above the calyx, which is green in color, above the corolla, which is colored, and above the androecium. So this flower is called as hypogynous flower. Next, in gynoecium, if the gynoecium is situated in the center and other parts of the flowers are located on the rim of the thalamus, almost at the same level, it is called as perigynous. That means the ovary is not above all wall members, not even below the all wall members, but the ovary is situated in the middle position of the thalamus, where all the other wall members like calyx, corolla, and androecium, they are arranged on a peripheral manner. Then the flower is called as perigynous, and the ovary is said to be inferior. In case of the hypogynous flower, the ovary is said to be superior. If the epigynous flower, in the epigynous flower, the margin of the thalamus grows upward, enclosing the ovary completely and getting fused with it. The other parts of the flower arises above the ovary. Hence, the ovary is said to be inferior, and in flowers of guava and cucumber, and the ray florets of sunflower. So here in this particular picture we can see that the ovary do not lie above the thalamus, but it like below the thalamus, or it can be said that it is embedded in the thalamus. So the thalamus completely covers the ovary and fuses at the tip, where the calyx, corolla, and endometrium they arises. So the position of the ovary in this case is below the other wall members of calyx, corolla, and endometrium. So this flower is called as epigynous, where the ovary is called as inferior. So these are the three different flowers: hypogynous, ovary above all wall members, so ovary is said to be superior; perigynous, ovary not above, not below, but in the middle, said to be half inferior or half superior; epigynous flowers, ovary is said to be is lying below all wall members, so ovary is said to be inferior. So this is all about the morphology, basics of the morphology of flower. In the next lecture we will study the modification of different parts of the flower, that is calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Here I would like to repeat once again that we have studied the basic features of the flower, then arrangement of flowers, whether it is bisexual or unisexual. Then we have gone through the whether the flower is cut into different halves, whether then it is actinomorphic or zygomorphic, and then depending upon the position of the ovary, it is hypogynous, epigynous, or perigynous. Also, bracts are present, and bracteate, bracts are absent, then ebracte. So these are the basic features of the flowers, and in the next lecture we will be studying the morphology of flowers, various parts, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, and their modification. So here we ends with the basic of the morphology of flower. So I request our students to please go through the presentation, study it well, and if you find any queries, please let me know. So thank you.